All right, welcome everybody. I'd like to call to order the August meeting of the Environmental Advisory Committee. First order of business, approval of the minutes. Does anybody have any comments, corrections, changes? No.
Nope.
All in favor of approving? Oh, I guess we have to have a motion. Excuse me. Who would like to move?
I'll move motion that we approve the minutes.
Second?
Second.
All right, been approved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, minutes are approved. Thank you. Just a little bit of background. I think you saw on the first agenda that came out, we were going to welcome Tony Kurzman as a new member of EAC. He had a prior commitment. He assures me it's a one-time thing and his Wednesdays are normally free. So he will join us. He will join us next month. Project updates. We have Jonathan with us tonight. Kind of hoping he and Tony might be able to tag team. Guess you can cover anything,
Yeah.
Shelley, that we've got left to cover for the sustainability project.
Shall I send an email? Did you see that?
No, perfect. Yes, thank you very much. It will work well. The one thing that, the plan would be that I will send that. I haven't done it yet. There's an issue, town email right now, so I can't do it immediately. That I will send that to the town to be part of council's packet for the next meeting. And the only thing that is outstanding with that, because I think that works. It's a small enough packet of information to remind council of the efforts of our Pitt capstone students, which were amazing. And that we do want to do that, do letters of commendation, or I guess
saw that in the notes. Yeah.
right. So I do need contact information
Okay.
for the students, because I know there were actually quite a few.
And I think there were only of the two teams, I think there might have only been 2 seniors. So the other students should have their email and contact information should remain the same.
Yeah, Tony, I'm assuming, could have provided that
Right.
to
Right.
us. So that would be the only thing that I
Okay.
would claim as
I'll
outstanding.
make note of that. And I'll
Yeah,
talk
I
to
don't
Tony.
think we have to, the letters of commendation would be written in hard copy form, but I think it's fine to send them via electronic email to the students, so they have them. And the only other question I guess I would have, and maybe this is something you could touch base with Tony on, is if we put it on next meeting's agenda, which will be a week from Monday, would the teams, one or both, like to have, and this is maybe a Tony question again, like to have someone, one of the students or more of the students, actually, it doesn't matter how many, at least participate on Zoom, because we have hybrid meetings now, to actually accept the letters. So
Yeah.
That's really, and that's maybe like, what does Tony think, I guess, because they're his students, or unless,
Right. Yeah, I mean, I have access to their emails, so I'll talk to Tony as well, just to confirm.
And they're certainly welcome to come here as well.
Yeah, I think
but
there's only a
that would be
few.
kind of inconvenient.
I think there's only a few that are Pittsburgh based.
Yeah.
The majority are Philadelphia area.
Yeah, I
So,
thought so.
So that being said, what I'll do is I'll touch base with Tony this week and just get a feel for what he thinks, because I can easily send an email to all the students. I have 2 email lists, one for each one of the teams. Let them know that this is something that the town wanted to do. And if they would be interested in coming, that if they could let us know, to accept.
Or, again, maybe.
Or even on
between you
Zoom.
and Tony, maybe there's one student representing each project
Mhm.
who would like to be on Zoom or something, to just represent their group. But that's entirely up to you guys. I don't think that changes anything. It's just that not wanting to do the right things
Yeah.
to recognize them and giving them an opportunity to participate if they want to. So,
Yeah, I will, I'll let you know. I'll reach out to him this
all right,
week.
thank you for getting
Talk to
that.
him. Yeah, absolutely.
It worked out well.
The only other thing, and I know this is in the sustainability, but to the point of the certification,
Yeah.
should I wait to talk about that, or do you want to?
No, you can. go ahead and
Then
do
no.
that now. Sure.
So within the eco district present project, they touched base, as in that the Pitt capstone students touched base on the fact of our gold certification for the PA sustainability certificate, right? They actually took that and went one step further and laid out what it would look like. Did you read through that? Any of that information of what it would look like to step up into the next level? Did you read that as well? I don't know if anybody else saw
Can I
that.
just interject?
Yeah, please.
Just to set the table, that unless I'm mistaken, because it's been a while since I read their stuff, I think what they worked with the only thing they had to work with, which was the components that comprised, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum from the sustainability certification from Sustainable Pittsburgh, which we worked with. And the fact of the matter is that the next go round, which I'm not sure they were aware of, is going to be different, and it's going to be more, it's going to be harder. And we still do not have that information from Sustainable Pittsburgh. So that's all I'm saying, is that I don't think this diminishes any of their recommendations or suggestions, just that it's not quite an even playing field, because we do not know yet what we have. I mean, I checked a couple of months ago and they still were saying this fall, but we know we've been through that. Have you heard anything different, John? Okay, so we're still we can't do anything about with exactness about continuing our effort to keep and maybe even improve our certification until we know what's coming out. But again, it doesn't diminish what they did, because I'm sure that their suggestions would help us still.
Now, just so you know, too, with the conversations that I had with the groups, they did reach out to the program. So they were aware that there was going to be evolution within the program in the coming year. But because, once again, like you had just said, they didn't know what that was.
That's right.
They just said, here, based off of the platinum level, these are the things that we can move forward. So I can't imagine that difference is going to be so significant that at least a good majority of those that they recommended, we should be able to still
I agree.
to pursue in some avenue to get that next level. So I think the good news is that, hopefully with Tony's background and me as well, maybe we can kind of piggyback each other and do that pretty easily, develop a strategy for not just the end of this year, but going into 2022 to get to that next level.
So, Judy, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
I'm only the liaison, but I feel like I'm talking way too much.
You can sit up here.
So am I to take that to mean, Mr. Bernstein, that you're willing to take on working maybe with Tony on, kind of being the next evolution of looking at our certification, trying to maintain it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd like to talk to Tony about that as well, because I'm not sure that I am equipped to handle that all by myself.
Okay.
But I would like to pursue that. Yes.
Well, I will go on record as saying that, first of all, John, but I'm not going to put more on you, but I'm just saying John is very, very knowledgeable about the process and how it works. But as everyone knows here, that my time on council is coming to an end at the end of this year. But as a volunteer, after the fact, once I'm no longer official, I would be happy to help you and or Tony work on that process, because I'm also familiar with it. I was the project manager for.
I see an opportunity for a subcommittee here.
No,
that
no,
what-
I agree
I
with
mean,
that.
really.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And I would
Because
be,
we're trying to get,
I'm just going on record
volunteers,
as saying, I would be happy to spend time
Thank
working
you.
on that.
Thank you.
and
That's-
I'm serious about that. I think that's an
And
excellent
maybe that's what it
opportunity
should, it
for
actually
for a
should be.
subcommittee.
Because, in fact, Judy, I think that's a wonderful idea, because the fact of the matter is that the certification covers so many different elements of sustainability,
Mhm.
you know, from administrative things within the context of the town to very specific things, you know, litter, waste, energy efficiency, you know, you name it, that it probably would be an excellent candidate for that kind of subcommittee.
Okay. So I think next is discussion with Tony
Mhm.
to see if he's willing to participate in that also. And I think that's a great way to keep that going, because it is a lot for one person. And
It is.
it looks like we have several people that are interested. So let's work together. That's
Yeah.
great.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
But we don't really have a timeline for when that needs to happen, right? Or
No,
Sustainable.
it's all. up-
They haven't
it's all up-
released any
Yeah.
information
Okay.
at all, so.
Yeah, right now, it's a matter of someone keeping in touch with, and his name's escaping me, I know, Jim Price. It's a matter of keeping in touch with Jim Price at Sustainable Pittsburgh to get updates on where they stand. And from our past history, I have no idea where they are right now. Probably is a good time to call him now, is that they estimate times and it usually gets pushed and pushed.
Yeah.
and
Well, I
pushed.
think they said 2 years ago in the fall.
Right. Yeah, because, and by the way, the other pertinent question, which I have not ever been able to get an answer to yet, is when we got our certification. So John, help me remember, the certification was supposed to last for 3 years or 2 years?
I believe it's in perpetuity under the old system. I
Well,
think the new system was supposed to be, a renewal process. But
the renewal part, you have to renew though.
right.
No, that's what I'm saying. So you get a certification and you don't get to keep your certification in perpetuity.
See, it wasn't clear then, if that's the case, because if I recall, if you looked at a lot of the links online on their page, when you look at all the municipalities, there was a lot of broken links. And they were just hanging out there. All these people were probably certified a few years ago.
Yeah, they didn't want to take them off, like say they were.
Yeah, so I mean, once we sent it out, there was really no notification of what we have to do if we need to renew or not.
Well,
But the implication was when the new system came in, there would have to be some sort of formal renewal process.
So I'll reach out to Jim to
yeah.
kind of start to
So
develop
there's
a
the
relationship.
renewal, yeah, because and you may be completely right. My impression was a little bit different, which was that the system was set up to be for a period of time and then municipalities needed to renew. Didn't mean they needed to enhance, it just means they needed to renew. But now with them putting together a new program or an enhanced different program, that the renewals would be based on the new requirements. And that's what we don't know what the quote new requirements are. And we don't know exactly. I thought we were kind of grandfathered in until they came to us and told us that we had to reapply. But I thought that in general, there was a reapplication or renewal process that had to happen every so often. And then whether it was 2 years or 3 years or something like that, I didn't know. So there's a little, obviously, John and I have a little uncertainty about that. It's,
Okay.
It's a question.
John, can you possibly send me his contact information?
Sure.
Thank you. I'll start to build that relationship.
That's great. He's great, by the way. He'll come out and meet with you, talk to you,
Okay.
us, you know, I
Great.
mean, definitely.
Question about one of the first things you mentioned. Was there a summary recommendations document prepared? Is that what you were referring to that went to Shelley for the council? Agenda?
I'm not sure what I read today that Jonathan sent me represents that as it would relate to the sustainability certification. But I will say this, if anybody can remember it, I'm sure I could find it on my computer. After we finished the sustainability project and we got our gold certification, the basis of, I forget what we called them, but you guys got it at one point. What I put together was the future opportunities or I don't know what we call, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But that document that I put together, maybe not 100% of it, but a lot of it was based upon my assessment of where we missed points or didn't get any points on the certification process, and that they were things that we could consider doing into the future. That would probably be the best place to start.
Okay.
Yep, I remember that. I was asking about the students' projects.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, so what I do is I just, and I can send it to everybody in the EAC, it just as a quick, it's just a 3-page Word document
Okay.
that gives an overview of what the 2 projects were, a timeline of just from the project concept all the way through, just a month by month type of scenario of what went on timeline wise. And then synopsis from the students of each project, just a couple of paragraphs, a conclusion, which is what they, obviously what they came up with, and then a small listing of the attachments. And those were attachment that Judy had sent out a few months back. So I can just send it out just so you have a quick overview of what those,
that would be a
what those
good
projects are.
refresher for what.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what was
absolutely.
happening.
Yep.
Okay.
Jonathan, what is your so I have Jim Price's information.
Yeah.
What is your text number?
412
Mhm.
477.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, 777?
No, 412 477
477, thank you.
4939.
412-477-4939.
Correct.
Okay, I just sent you Jim Price's information. There you go. You'll enjoy talking to him. He's really good.
Got it. Thank you.
My other question was, I think we heard last time that that same course or projects is going to be a fall activity instead of a spring activity. And are they looking for
I think instead.
ideas or,
In addition to spring.
oh,
I guess,
fall in addition to
Yeah, I
spring?
believe Tony said that they had so much interest in the course that they were actually going to offer it in the fall.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know, he hasn't come to us with, it's
Yeah.
awfully late in the
Okay.
game, and I know Jonathan's still recovering from the last one.
I mean, honestly, it was
And-
a lot of meetings just to make sure they were on track. So, but it really wasn't challenging. Like it was, so I'd be more than happy to
Very
kind of,
time-consuming.
but I think if we can come up with some suggestions, I mean, they were hungry for them. Like we only expected one, and
Mhm.
if that, and they were like,
Right.
we'll take whatever at this point. So if we can come up with some ideas that might be beneficial to the committee, yeah, I think that would be significant. Have a couple in our pocket.
Yeah, I took what you wrote to, so I'll be honest, what I contemplated was that would be, that would include recommendations to council for what things they might want to entertain or pursue or whatever. But I read what you put together, and actually I came to the conclusion after reading it that, and I'm taking this a little bit, maybe I'm learning myself, is that like how council reacted to the coal tar thing. And I think that it would probably, I feel as if we put something like your document in front of council that had, I don't know what it would be, a list of 5 or 10. These are things that council could consider doing or considering. I'm not sure it would go anywhere. So I actually thought to myself, better that it is something that maybe is entertained within the context of this committee, and maybe prioritize what the things could be that this committee wanted to advocate,
Right.
and then take them on an individual basis to council.
I think that's incredibly wise because there's so much depth in each one of those projects that we're way beyond, I think, what we even thought we would get. And there's also some items that would need some serious consideration for dollars from council. So,
Absolutely.
that may not be an avenue because the eco district project is a multi-year thought process. It's not like you just file some documents and there you go, you have it and you have to pay for it. Like there's a whole, so, I agree with you, just kind of backing up your point, but yeah, I agree with you that we probably should internally talk about some of those in depth, and maybe we should focus 1 or 2 meetings where we have, even though my 2 minutes is obviously long gone, but maybe like a half an hour of concentrated conversation where we've all, I say, okay, everyone, we're going to talk about this project. Let's all really look at it and, pull out some points that you find interesting that you might want, that you might think are beneficial to the community from an environmental standpoint. And then we could talk about them and see if there's any real value in presenting to the council that maybe we should move forward with some of those points. Is that what you're thinking as well?
I mean, the only thing that comes to my mind is that I think that in the context of I think a reasonable context to put that kind of discussion in is knowing what we know now, what do we think would be things that that the students came up with that would enhance our ability to get recertified in our sustainability certification and possibly enhance it to platinum, 1. And 2, I would say this, I think that if this committee wants to spend more time on the eco district concept, if it's the holistic eco district creation concept versus components of it, which would also support the sustainability certification, that's a little bit of a different ball game. Like it would just, you'd have to start basic if you wanted to, if this committee felt there was a recommendation with Canlis actually wanting to pursue an eco district, that it would have to start with some basic education,
Agree. Agree.
so. Those are my comments.
Okay.
So that was 20 or more.
You've had a few
We spent
accumulating from the
We spent a
last
lot
couple
of time
meetings,
talking
so.
about sustainability all
Yeah.
the time, so it's not
Yeah,
unusual.
so that was my whole
It's a big-
3 months
it's a
of
big
not being
topic.
here.
That's
That was
why
my
I
3
think
months
made up.
covered in
And all the more reason that I think this should be a subcommittee. So
Yeah, agree.
that's great. Okay, thank you very much. Next on litter update, Dave.
Oh, okay. Not a lot to report. We really haven't started making any plans for the fall cleanup, which is Saturday, October 16th. A little bit of advertising going on, but haven't started to hit that hard until the end of August and into September. At the night out at the table that we had, there was a little bit of interest on litter pickup and handed out some flyers on the date and explained it a little bit. That's about it. More to come, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I did connect with one of the scout leaders, and they have one of their camping outings going on that weekend, so they won't be
Oh,
available.
the 16th.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if that means all the scouts. I don't know how the troops are really organized or whether they're totally separate or do things together or what, but one of the leaders came back and said that they weren't available, but they're looking forward to doing some of the other projects that I listed. I think that's good for litter.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Green space update. Jeff informed me this afternoon that something had come up. He was unable to attend. He sent me an email that I did not have time to forward. Let's see. Basically, I guess what he's working on right now is he's communicating with Beth Dutton at NAEC to actually put together some sort of a speaker series event. And I believe we talked about this summit, and Beth sent out a long list of, of options. And Jeff is, I guess, looking for some feedback on what we want to see. I apologize, I didn't get that out. I will get that out after we're done here, but I can do a quick summary here. Here are some ideas. Streamscapes with Penn State Extension and the Allegheny County Master Watershed Coordinator, Mary Wilson. And she was here on the stream walk we had. Very knowledgeable, said a Master Watershed Steward Coordinator. And there's a link here. I guess there's a program that they regularly put on that they could do for us. And other potential topics are Irwin Run Hike, microinvertebrate safari, pollinator garden tour, naturalizing yards, better backyards, tree planting, fertilizing, downspout disconnection, stream walk for residents, intro to fly fishing with Trout Unlimited, citizen stream monitoring with the County Conservation District, watershed master steward program, I guess outlining what's available there, and sustainability tour McCandless, bioretention, arboretum, etc. And I remember the discussion with this was, it was going to be aimed more towards a hands-on, smaller group type of a setting, I think, than just 100 people in a room type of a program. So I don't know if that gives anyone any ideas. I will send this out and mull it over, and I guess Jeff's looking for some feedback on how to follow up. But yeah, Beth Dutton is very, very enthusiastic about helping us put another program together. So that was the green space update for now. Solar energy program update. That is for those, I know I sent the email out, but just reminder that Ishmael has submitted his resignation for personal and work reasons. He was unable to fulfill his duties. So we need to back up and kind of start over again. I did speak with Tony about that because he obviously had worked with Ishmael, and he is willing to take another look at that project form that we put together and just kind of try and remember where we were and try and figure out what the town wants right now. Shelley, he'd like to have a call. We talked about, I'm going out of town, but I'll be back middle of next week, looking at maybe next Thursday, getting together some sort of a call. I don't know if you'd be available.
Yeah, no, I'm
something
out of
like that?
town, but I'm certainly
Are you?
available by
Okay.
phone. Although I would say this, so much time
Yeah,
has passed at this juncture. And some of the things that, at least in my mind, I hope that solar opportunities would be connected to, the ship may have sailed.
okay. And that's why I think
Um,
before Tony does anything, we
Yeah,
need to
I agree. We
come
wouldn't
up
want
with
to
what we
spin
really need.
wheels, and I think that yeah, I think that maybe maybe it would be wise to have at least a quick phone call with us and kind of regroup
And that's where I had
and then
hoped to start.
find out. And then I think the next step before Tony might put any time and effort into this is to get, I'm sorry, but I have to keep this on because of stuff that's going on tonight. It's that we talked to Bob Grimm.
Yeah.
Whether it's us or me or whatever, and find out, because, there's, and I don't, to be honest, I'm not even completely up to date on where they stand with the upgrades to town hall and so on, and whether there's, we don't want to waste time either. So,
Right.
yeah, let's regroup and see what the status of things are and determine if there's a path forward anywhere and where that might be.
Right. Okay. And I'll talk to you after the meeting and we'll set up a time.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you. Landscape planning guide update. I actually have it put together. I am hung up right now. I got myself hung up on presentation and introductory wording. I can pass this around a little. You can take a quick look. Basically, I have 4 different lists that align with the types of plantings in the zone, the buffer yards in the zoning ordinance. And that is for canopy trees, small to medium understory trees. I added evergreen trees since you last saw this, Ken, and then shrubs. And those are the items that if you look in the zoning ordinance, those are the components of the buffer yards. So I've organized them this way. I've got common name of the plants, botanical name, the level of wildlife value afforded by that plant, its drought tolerance, deer resistance, and some other notes. And this can be expanded as we see what is needed.
This was actually, I didn't expect it to come up at town council meeting on Monday, but it
Oh,
did.
it did. Okay.
And what I was directed at me, and I said, it's very close to completion, so good
It
timing.
is. Yeah.
And what we determined is that, so I don't know, so we need to, I'm talking about the committee here,
Mhm.
needs to decide what and when we need to do. What I told council
Mhm.
is that I'd not seen anything yet, but it was very close to completion. And that when I did receive it, and I questioned this, the decision was made that, and I would say this is when this committee is satisfied with,
Mhm.
I haven't seen what you were
Right, I know,
holding there. That the EAC's recommendation that I would send it to both planning commission and to council. Council indicated they wanted to see it
Okay.
also. So I guess the plan would be, I'm thinking, to, like, Ken, have you seen this yet?
Yes,
Yes.
we've gone through it. It's
Okay,
pretty
so
straightforward. and
you
common sense.
two are the kind of experts on this, so but anyway, other committee members might have questions or
Right. And
whatever.
I fully intend to send it to everybody
So-
for review.
So I would, I don't want to push it back too far because this is something that we were asked for a while
I know,
ago.
I know.
No, I'm not being critical.
I know.
There's lots of other stuff going on. But I probably wouldn't want to push this back further. And it's not necessarily, by the way, it's nothing for council to do at a council meeting,
Mhm.
but somewhere between now and the first council meeting in, well, at least the second council meeting in September, preferably the first council meeting in September. I would like to have, prior to that meeting, been able to get a copy of whatever it is that
Mhm.
this committee has had an opportunity, even if it needs to be through emails,
Yeah.
sometimes you just can't wait till next meeting to
Right.
discuss it. See if anyone else from this committee has questions, comments, finalize
Additions,
whatever
subtractions,
it
right.
is that you have, so that I can send it on to planning commission and council, because I don't think it's something, it's not a council agenda item.
Mhm.
It's more like getting something in hand for council and planning commission to comment on and maybe approve, so that planning commission can share this with two reasons. Planning commission can share it with developers
Right.
and or council members. Can do the same as they're involved. And I think thirdly is it could be at, if not completely utilized, at least a good resource for if council agrees. There's an RFP that's out to redo our zoning.
Saw that, yeah.
And if council chooses to proceed with rehabbing our zoning,
Mhm.
then, I mean, there's a potential for this kind of thing or something similar
Right.
to it to be integrated.
And it
into
should
that.
be, and I know it is in.
With,
other
more, yeah, with more
municipalities.
specificity
Right.
about what's good. So
Right.
that's, I hope I explained that correctly,
Sure.
but that would be, I think, if Judy, you could get this out to the committee and give a date by which the committee has an opportunity to make comments, questions,
Mhm.
and then finalize and provide it to me in a finalized form,
Mhm.
then I'll see that
Sure.
it gets to those.
Yeah,
other
my goal had
parties.
been to get this out to everybody by tonight, and I apologize. It didn't
No,
happen,
no,
but
don't
it's-
apologize.
But it's
A lot
here.
of stuff going on.
The lists are pretty straightforward
Yeah,
and
and I can
self-explanatory.
push, pass that around a little bit.
A lot of common sense, except when I look at some of the developments, like, my example always is McCandless Crossings, where they planted red oaks underneath the utility lines.
Right.
That wasn't
And
very
that's,
smart.
no, it's not.
So
Thank you
is
for the
there,
drought tolerant part, Judy, which I
And,
know I
well,
asked for.
And I know another category we had talked about that I just didn't get far enough in the research is use in rain gardens and wet areas. That's another category that
that's
we can
almost like a
expand. So,
By the way, it's a worthy category though, but I do think it's a different animal.
and that's what I found.
And I
as was
also
going through
believe,
this.
so I mean, as a kind of an update, is that we're kind of already going that direction without
Mhm.
having updated zoning. But
Mhm.
the concept of rain gardens, even to the, as being detention facilities, including modifications to the slope requirements that
Mhm.
would normally be attributable to, basins, regular detention or retention
Mm-hmm. Right.
basins are very different for rain gardens. So there's a lot in rain gardens. I think there's already certainly not included in our zoning ordinance, but
there's
already a belief that
publications. Yeah.
rain gardens are even better
Mhm.
and they have different requirements like slopes, and then certainly the vegetation is an
Right.
issue. So I think it would be a worthy thing to add to the list is
And
specific to rain gardens, which is, I think, different than this.
yeah, and another addition can be a list of invasive and non-native species that we don't want. And-
That's true. I
that's
think
another
that
addition.
if I put it on your list, I'd actually put that even above the rain garden work is
Right.
issue a list of invasive species that we don't want planted here.
Right.
Like the Ailanthus that you see flowering everywhere now.
The what?
Ailanthus altus in the tree of heaven.
And there's actually some very good publications. There's a very comprehensive flyer from DCNR that I think Hampton just basically references that in theirs. That is really all I'd be doing is retyping that list.
A lot of this isn't recreating the wheel.
Right.
Bayberry,
Bayberry is more of a shrub.
what is the one that's horrible?
Tree of
Barberry.
heaven.
Barberry?
Barberry.
Barberry, Japanese
No, I
barberry.
just want to know because somebody
I
needs
thought
to
the
come.
same thing
My
when I saw
husband
that.
won't do it. Somebody needs to come to my house. I have 2 barberries in my front, the front of my house, which is embarrassing. But I didn't plant them. My husband won't take them out because he likes them. They match our shutters.
Deer won't eat them.
That is true. They're growing very well. Yeah, I think that the invasive species thing is real important to be, I would even suggest for me to be able to say that and, you know, coming in the relatively near future will be a list of invasive species that to be avoided.
Right, okay.
The DNR thing's pretty good to go, I think.
I think so too. And
It's not huge. I mean, it's
What's
not a
that?
huge list, right?
it's a bigger list than this one.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's all kinds of-
It's a full page
There's all
list.
kinds of stuff out there.
Um, and It's
Stuff that
basically,
people actually plant or stuff that grows.
Those people, somebody originally planted it. and
Yeah,
then it
actually,
shapes.
that's the invasive list that
Wow.
Hampton presents. I believe it's pretty much the same as the DCNR.
Yeah, Norway maple, it's almost hard to think of that as a,
Can we just like plagiarize this in some form?
Yeah. It just, well, in
I
fact,
mean, if they
that's,
did their, if,
well, I have theirs. I had Franklin Parks. I had several other publications, and that's kind of what I did is I tried to pick out what was common threads, which wasn't too hard to do. But then I had to do a lot of research to fill in the characteristics of each
do you
one.
think it's possible? I mean, I'm not putting pressure on, but I'm not trying to. Do you think it would be possible in the context of what I just suggested about getting this out to planning commission and council, rather than separating the invasive plants that we could, given that we have, because like, just knowing, talking to the Hampton, EAC people and
Right.
everything, I think they're pretty serious about what they do.
Mhm.
And if we could just more or less, let's say hypothetically,
I used a lot of what they had on there.
oh, this is yours. This is
Well,
not
no,
theirs.
this is theirs, but on
I'm
the
saying
the
just
front sheet.
You,
is
you and
theirs.
Ken kind of verify, that you're, and just maybe attach it as an addendum to the, to what you've already prepared,
What? Attach
The-
an addendum,
the,
just-
the never plant list.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I can make that another sheet.
That's all I'm
Yeah.
suggesting. So we have these are kind of recommended with
Right.
some of their attributes.
Mhm.
And this is like the no, please, never.
Right, and that's
Right.
exactly what Hampton has done. They
Right.
have that first sheet is their recommended plantings, and the second is the list.
Okay. Well, that's what I would love to pass on to planning commission
lot
and
of that-
council.
a lot of those don't plant things are stuff that were ornamentals that were commonly planted in landscapes in the 1950s. And so what happens is they then seed and escape. And because they don't fit into the ecology, nothing attacks them and they take over.
Mhm.
How's is trumpet vine on this? It's taken over my house.
I don't know.
You know, Ken, I'm just curious.
It's North Park's understory is bittersweet, Japanese stilt grass, Japanese barberry, and bittersweet vine comprises most of the understory of North Park at this point.
I just want to know about trumpet vine because I can't get rid of it.
So this is going to be a document that's going to help a developer Do
Avoid
is-
mistakes.
do his landscaping plan. So what if an existing Lowe's, Giant Eagle, or the little guy on Perry Highway or Babcock or whatever wants to redo his landscape?
We share this with them.
We share this with them. We don't have any.
But how do they know that it's there?
Yeah,
Because planning commission will, when they want to redevelop or something, they've got to present plans to planning commission. And the concept would be that first, we would put it out there available to them, that they work with our planning group, RJ and the
Right.
group. And that this would be something they could hand to people who come in interested in redeveloping. And actually, the idea here would be to be preemptive, not wait till they spend money doing a landscape plan, but to get this in their hands when they come in, as soon as they come in and say, we're interested in doing this. That's what they typically do.
Well, I can also see this being what's the word, advertised or
We can have a link.
mentioned, for the public to,
Absolutely.
if I have a 20 by 20 bed that I want to redo, that might be something that I want to look at.
And there are certainly other plants that can be, and trees that can be added to these lists. These are not exhaustive lists. So I don't know, how that would work with the planning commission, but can we be in a position if they want to propose a plant that's not on this list? Is that something that could come through us? Or we can keep
Depends on
this
this on planning
updated?
commission.
Yeah,
The availability of the different products,
Right,
if you go to Musser's Forest up in Indiana, PA, they have over 100, but everything that they have there is going to fall in our good category. They don't sell anything that goes in the bad
Okay.
category.
Mhm.
If you go to Best Feeds, they're pretty similar to that. They don't have any of the bad stuff. So the only time you're going to find barberry and stuff is if you're going to a Home Depot or someplace like that.
Okay.
And they're more aware of that now than they used to be. So
Okay.
they're limiting what, they're making more appropriate offerings to people.
yeah. The point I was just wanted to make is that I think it could be valuable for the general public.
oh,
too.
absolutely,
Yeah.
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And-
100%.
But our first focus was to get this in the hands of planning commission.
Exactly, that's how it
But,
came about.
but
yeah.
knowing that this could be useful for homeowners as well. Okay, so I will get hopefully a cleaned up version of this out to everybody shortly with the goal in the next 2-3 weeks, hopefully, to have this reviewed and in Shelley's hands.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Next up, Dave, you have been following up with the town on some rain garden maintenance.
Yeah, this is a project that kind of we were thinking about in 2019, I guess. Didn't really get to it. It's talked to Donna Raddick once or twice about it. The idea is to take a look at the rain garden that's over on the side of the parking lot by the Heritage Center. See what might need to be done in terms of maintenance, what should be pulled out. Do we need to remulch it? Maybe it's fine the way it is. We don't know. The only thing I've done is I emailed Donna about this because she indicated she was interested in helping out. Haven't heard back yet, so wait for that.
Okay, but you've been in touch with Jeff at the town.
With Jeff also, yes.
Didn't you, which I really appreciated Jeff's candor. If I recall, I think I saw something where he responded and because we questioned that at the last meeting.
Mhm.
Does the town even know how to maintain a rain garden?
No.
And I actually appreciated his honesty in that respect, because I think I have been led to believe in the past that sure they did. And so I think it's an opportunity that is
Yeah.
worthy of, spending more time on, because he seemed genuinely, what I read sounded like he was genuinely interested in understanding more.
Right. The thing I'm concerned about is that it's in a very visible spot. There's signs up there that are of an educational nature. So I think we want to make it look as good as it can be and functional. Donna is a Penn State Master Gardener. She was involved in building the rain garden over on Vingamar Road in North Park. So yeah, Jeff indicated that they were interested in learning how to maintain it.
That's a good start.
And I appreciate you reaching out to Donna,
Yeah,
helping with that.
I think I might check with you just to make sure I have Donna's correct email
Okay.
address.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll do that.
in fact, I don't know
when I
if I
get
have an email. I may have something in here, because she was very helpful, sending me some links. Not that I have it printed out.
It is July and August and people have other things going
Sure.
on and lives that they live outside of volunteering for the town.
Okay, there's what I have right there.
Oh, okay. I think that's what I have.
And it took her a little bit of time to get back to me with that, but when she did, she had a ton of information for me, so
Yeah,
she just gets kind of busy. Okay, we move on to community outreach. I think, Dave, you already hit a little bit on National Night Out. Dave and Ken manned a table for us, and John was there too, I believe. So anything to share?
It was kind of fun to watch all the kids running around, and right next to us was the airbrush tattoos and all of that, and
Mhm.
just watching all the interaction with the kids, with the different firefighters and police and everything like that was good. I talked with the both game commission and the suburban whitetail people, and things are moving along there, you know,
Okay.
for Wall Park and so forth. And so all of that's moving along. This is, archery season starts in basically a month, in the middle of
Mhm.
September for antlerless. So they're pretty well along on that.
Good.
But the big thing is just watching all the little kids running around. That was fun. They didn't seem to pay much attention to us with the
Well,
litter,
no,
but
probably
you know.
not.
yeah, I think with the police, the fire, the rescue folks there, the EAC table was not the most exciting place to visit.
I really appreciate you
But anyway,
doing that, though. That was great.
we did talk to some people, as opposed to like the garden in the park where everyone's
Right. out
you
there
know,
with
Thinking
the-
environmentally,
thinking
right,
environmental and those kind of things.
Hand
So
out bird houses to the kids.
a few of the
Maybe a
bird
few.
houses, a couple people asked about the litter bags. What are these for? You know, that kind of thing. Well, in the olden days, you would put it in, hang it off your cigarette lighter in your car. And like I said before, we had a few ask about the litter cleanup and seemed to be interested in that. So that was good, I think. Community Day, I don't think we're not doing anything,
Yeah, we're not doing booths this year.
not doing booths or tables. Okay.
So, yeah, once again, I appreciate Dave and Ken for manning the table for that one. Thank you. Dave, I think you had touched a little bit too on the scout projects.
Yep, I sent an email to the Scout Masters, I guess, or leaders, I guess they're called, that I communicated with last spring on the litter cleanup. Told them about some fall projects that we could possibly be working on, or the Scouts could volunteer with. The litter pickup on October 16th, the catch basin stickers, the maintenance of the rain garden. I think that was it. And then Shelley, on that email, I also mentioned the scout leader that you had mentioned
Yeah,
before.
Gary Roberson.
Right, that works with the Eagle Scouts and,
Yeah.
Mentioned these aren't Eagle Scout type projects, but if anything, if they need to coordinate or ask the EAC about anything, they have our information now as well as yours. So I just did get I got one response back that said he was no longer the leader and gave me the new leader's name. And I just got an email from him today, and he's going to start thinking about, they're just starting to put together their program for the fall and winter and spring. So appreciated being aware of stuff that we have going on.
Yeah, thanks for reaching out. Sounds like the timing was really good.
Yeah,
Programming for
Yep.
next year.
That's one of the problems with the scout groups and stuff is the turnover of the leadership. It's hard to have any continuity there.
yeah. Once your kid
Well, yeah,
moves on, you know,
okay.
you drop out.
And I did send out the link to the Adam Butler property video. I guess, and that was part of Jeff's report too. He just says we want the EAC to review and ask questions for next meeting. Frankly, the video is just what, a 2-minute
Pretty, it was a
view,
pretty video.
yes, of the trees and the natural area and the property with some background music. So I'm not sure exactly where that goes.
Well, and obviously this conversation should include Jeffrey.
Right, and we can
But
hold off until he's back, but. it's-
yeah, I'm just, so one, that this has kind of been assigned, which is unique, but appropriate. I don't think I think it's appropriate to the AC as well as the Activities Committee.
Okay, that's right, because they both attended.
Correct, and they were both there. And again, the idea being here that there is this gentleman who, and, you know, I'm bringing this up because I actually had this with recently, this conversation with someone close to it. And I said, you know, it's like, okay, so this is private property. This individual, from what I understand, he doesn't want to donate this property to McCandless. He wants to maintain it, but he's willing to share it, which is wonderful, by the way, absolutely wonderful. It's beautiful property. And I said, you know, because depending on what the Activities Committee, the EAC, you know, further investigation might reveal, undoubtedly, everything costs money, right?
Mhm.
So it was like, if we had grant money, I mean, let's just say it's grant money, it's not town money even. If we had grant money to spend, wouldn't we, I was playing devil, wouldn't we want to spend it on property that we already own and control?
Mhm.
And, you know, it was a really interesting counterpoint that I got, and I kind of buy into it. I kind of buy into it, is that the difference here is that this apparently, and Jeffrey should speak to this because I wasn't there, but this gentleman apparently who owns the property is very engaged with this. He's not just like saying, here, I have this extra property. Why don't you go figure out what you could do with it?
Mhm.
He's the guy, he's the mastermind. He's got lots of potential ideas. He wants to be part of it. He's engaged in it. He wants to facilitate having a community space
Mhm.
on this property potentially. So the difference, as was pointed out to me, and I think it is a big difference, is that there's someone driving this.
Right.
There's someone driving this who actually does have some degree of control because he owns the property.
Mhm.
And he has wonderful, and it sounds like good and worthy ideas. So just another reason why pursuing this to understand what the opportunities could be is a worthy endeavor. So that's what I know. And it could be, by the way, if there's some concept here that, you know, I think this could be, Dave, this could be a place, this could even involve like an Eagle Scout type project. It might be far beyond that. I don't know, but let's just we've talked about Wall Park and the trail, and then there's this as well. So that's what I know.
Okay, and I would assume that it's between Jeff and I guess he's got another representative.
Yeah, I don't
person from
remember. I do
Activities
not
Committee.
recall who was
Okay.
there with them. I mean, actually, I know, actually the chair of the chair was there for at least most of it, Libby Blackburn, but there's someone from the Activities Committee, not Libby,
Right.
who was assigned to work on this. So
Okay.
I think it's a more to come, but
But I guess in the meantime, if anybody has any great ideas or thoughts that we can share with Jeff.
Yeah, and I'm sure, by the way, I'm not sure, I know I'm not sure, but it seems like if the, even if the committee was interested in, I think this guy would welcome if this committee, for example, as a whole, wanted to view it, get more involved in understanding what the potential is. Because even if the owner isn't available to guide us through it, as long as we had access, I think Jeff's heard all of
Right.
that. So that might be something we might be interested in doing.
My 2 cents worth is that when it's on private land, you're at the beck and call of whatever that, if he gets mad at people, it's all gone. So there needs to be
That
some
is the
type of,
risk.
there needs to be some type of contract on availability, and there also needs to be some liability issues
That's- yeah.
addressed. There's a lot of stuff that needs to get done before you can allow public to, for us to be backing public
Yeah,
doing something there.
Yeah, we're good, excellent point. We're aware of that, and we've kind of already talked about what would be the legalities that would need to be, and I think that's a given. If we wanted to, I think right now we're still at the, does the town want to get involved?
Mhm.
And in doing what and to what extent?
Right.
That's where we're at, I think.
I think talking to the solicitor about that a little bit too would make sense.
Yeah, he's aware of it.
Okay.
Okay.
No, he is aware of it. So, or I haven't talked to him, but that's my understanding.
Okay.
And we've kind of talked about there's liability issues, there's how do you control it? I mean, and under what certain, how long does it last? Because
Yeah.
there is the issue of if there was some, to your point, if there was something that was done that utilized like grant money or town money, and then 2 years later, the individual sold his property or decided they didn't want to share it anymore,
Mhm.
then
Yeah, there's an expenditure.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And actually, those were the things that led me to kind of say, if we were going to spend money or effort, why wouldn't we do it on property that we completely control
Mhm.
rather than someone else's? And anyway, we'll see.
Okay.
Is there, or John, maybe this is for you, can we go into like Google Earth or GIS and delineate what we're talking about or what his entire property, and this is the section that we're talking about as, the potential area? Or has that been created yet, or? I'm
I
still
would
not
think
sure
he probably has something.
where we're
I
talking
can't remember
about.
if that was included in any of the early correspondences. It'd be easy to go to a county lot and block map and
Right.
and just at least show his property. But
Well, yeah, do we have his,
I think Jeff
lot
can
ID
speak.
number?
I think
Just a lot
Yeah.
of
Jeff
trepidation.
It's a big
on-
cover. I agree with you. I mean, just to even see,
That's why this
is
conversation
it located in
happened,
an
and
area
was
that would be
you.
convenient for
I
people
was
to
saying
actually
it's right on,
access?
it's right on.
You know what I
Pine
mean?
Creek Road.
Oh, okay.
It's right, in fact, right
There's a lot of
across
risks
from
there.
where we did our stream walk, I believe.
Right.
It's off of Pine Creek, right where, is that Old Harmony? Old
Well,
Harmony
I
Rail
can't
comes in.
use my,
Um,
it's a long story.
Right.
It's on
Gotta
the
keep
opposite
both.
side of Pine Creek Road from Vestal Field.
Okay.
And that's my general understanding.
Right.
That there is a house on the property, but there's a lot of open land as well.
It's on the other side from the creek.
Right.
Okay.
And that used to be years ago, the owner that owned that many years ago didn't process deer there. He was a meat cutter. There was like a barn there and so forth. So it's, but I think a lot of those buildings and that have been gone for a long time now. So
Okay.
I'm old.
I believe it's it's this property right in here.
So if I go on the county website
and
I
look
think
at
he's
the
on
corner of,
this side of Harmony Drive. I think it's this area here.
okay, the corner of Pine Creek and Harmony.
Mhm, I believe so.
You also want to stay on the good side of that guy, because if we ever make a trail connecting Potter and Vestal and all of that, it goes, the prior
Adjacent to
landowner
us.
was one of the reasons why that couldn't be done, is the prior landowner wouldn't let anybody have any egress there.
Really?
Okay, so we'll follow up. Gather any ideas you might have and we'll follow up with Jeff. Next up, speaker series. I was following up on an idea to put together a speaker series presentation on not just coal tar, but other hazardous materials or conditions around the home. But I wanted to start with coal tar contacts. I've tried to get in touch with Mandy Steele. She isn't returning my emails, so I don't think we can count on her.
I don't think she might like us
I
anymore.
don't think she does.
But you could at
I
least,
still tried to reach out and make a point that this is our effort to try and get this out there another way.
yeah,
but
I
I've
don't even think she's aware that we took a second go at it.
I told her, I mean, I sent her an email.
Oh,
and,
you did?
and kind of recapped where things went and.
Okay,
But then I
so
wanted to get back in
We're
touch with her
persona
and
non grata,
and see.
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Sounds like she's still pursuing a lot of other
Yeah, I'm
municipalities
sure
right
she's
now.
busy.
I also followed up with EAC representative in Ross because I had seen an article in the Trib publicizing Ross's push for the coal
Right.
tar.
Mhm.
And they cited somebody, I forget his name now, but they had the name of somebody from Austin, Texas that
Oh, yeah.
that addressed.
They're
And I
big
just
deal there.
contacted Kristen with Ross to see if this was somebody that was now local. And she said, no, he's not. He's still based out of Texas.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I use repeatedly the fact that, could the whole city, huge, gigantic city of Austin, Texas, like be totally crazy and wrong?
So,
But,
but I was just hoping that this expert they were using was local and could come speak.
oh, it was the expert. I thought it was like a town.
Well, I
medical
think
council person.
he's with an organization.
Oh,
I forget the name of the organization, but based out of Austin, but
mhm.
probably one of the early proponents of this whole movement. But anyway, he's not local and can't come speak it.
Right.
And
I could have come to Austin to
So,
McCandless.
so I'm kind of tabled that right now, and that kind of leads to the next. I'm at least going to put together the next McMail tips
Okay,
that I will focus on the coal tar issue.
make sure that it's,
You want to help me write this?
I'll be happy to look at it. I
Okay.
mean, that's what we were assigned.
Because
to-
you did.
That is what we were assigned to do by council,
Mhm.
is to educate.
Mhm.
And believe me, I have pages of research.
I
and-
know that, and I
and
appreciate
things
that.
That I think that we might not be able to have an ordinance or a resolution, but we can certainly be open, honest, and direct about what the facts are.
Right, and we could start with the tips, and I'd like to move to information on our webpage and hit some links to the USGS information sheet and whatever's the quickest way to get a lot of that out there.
Yep,
Yeah.
So
agree.
I'll be in touch with you then. We put that together.
No, I'm happy to help. I don't think I got angry enough to throw out my file, so. you can have it.
But I appreciate all of the
Just
extra
joking.
research you did to present that to council. That's very much appreciated, and I'm sorry it didn't
No,
change
Don't be
minds, but-
sorry. It's, not everybody can agree all the time.
Correct.
It's just a fact.
Okay, and then just update, everybody's aware that Ishmael did resign. And I believe was it just advertised today or very recently? Applications are being accepted again for our new opening.
Yeah, I think I don't know if you did that, John. It just added it to activities committee and
'Cause there's
whatever
several.
the other one
I don't
was.
like when there's all these advertisements clogging up my homepage. So I
Okay,
try to
John.
group them together.
No, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
You just kind of said environmental activity. That's fine. We had good good people apply last time.
Yes, we
So even
did.
if we don't get any applications, I think that we can quickly fill this position.
I believe so.
John, when can we, so, without saying name or, but, the former applicants are obviously there. So are you just going to, I know that at least one of them already said that they would
Reapply.
well, they don't have to
Our-
reapply,
our-
that they
we
wanted to
agree to
be
be considered,
reconsidered, and I
yes.
don't think they're gonna need another interview.
No,
And then I
Okay.
think there's a call to another one that, just, do they want to stay in the mix, right?
yeah, I'll probably send a note saying, there's another position open, so you guys are still in consideration as long as you choose to be.
Right, but letting them know they don't need
They don't need
to,
to interview.
they don't
Yeah,
need to
right.
interview again. So then how long do we have, so the question is, how long, like, when can we act on that? I'm sorry, when does the date by which they have to apply, anyone new has to apply, expire so that we can move?
It should be Thursday, September 9th at 5:00. The rule says 30 days.
I know. Okay. So Judy, keep track of the time. Okay.
Okay.
So hopefully September 9th, if there's anyone new, they have to be interviewed at a council meeting. Is that correct?
No, the way that we've changed the process, instead of council, all of council interviewing people, we've set up nominating committees. So for example, the nominating committee for the EAC would be Judy, myself, and Angela as my alternate, and John is there as well to participate. And so what happens is that the nominating committee interviews all of the applicants, and then they have a discussion and they determine who they recommend. And that's who I would, they're at a council meeting, who I would nominate. However, any council member has access to the videotaped interviews and so on. So another council member could conceivably nominate someone else. What's happened so far since this process has happened, John, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that the council has agreed with the nominating committee every time so far.
Yeah, it seemed like it's been pretty straightforward so far.
Yeah, so, so conceptually, based on history, is whoever that nominating committee is, choice, that is who council is most likely to vote for.
Okay, so that would be September 9th. Your council meeting after that is the 20th. You could put the name into, approval at that meeting, and we could have another person for our October meeting. That's what I'm getting at, is when can we have
Yeah.
another person?
When, what is the council meeting?
So
The 20th?
Should be on the 27th.
So
I might
by
have said
the,
that
we
wrong.
have to wait to get applications on the 9th, sometime after, now,
I'm sorry, 2nd and 4th would be the
Right.
27th. Is the
So the 13th.
September council meetings would be 13 and 27.
and okay, but if no one else applies and the 9th is the day, so our choice is going to be from people who have already been interviewed, then there is a possibility that we could make a decision and I could nominate someone at the first
The 13th.
meeting
The
in
13th.
September. However, if there are new applicants, then it's probably unlikely. Well, it's not impossible, actually. We could possibly depending on,
Someone applies really early and no one else comes in, we could, in theory, like.
Do some
interview.
interviews.
right, so I think that's a good thing to just keep in mind. Because certainly, given how long this committee has been waiting
Short.
for full number of committee members, John, that if we can, we should keep that in mind, that the goal, if legally and appropriately possible, even if it includes new interviews, that if we can get on that first meeting in September, then that would allow this committee to be fully formed in September. No,
October.
Well, by the October meeting, yeah.
Because our EAC meeting is the 8th.
Yeah.
The second
We'll just-
second
First
Wednesday
Wednesday.
is the 8th
In October.
in September.
Oh, it's September. So they would be for an
so why
October
are
start.
why are we meeting?
Because September 1st is a Wednesday.
Oh,
the
because of
second
that. Okay, thank you. That's why.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
an
earliest
early
date
run.
that we could have an EAC meeting is the 8th.
And
You know
then
what, though?
October's gonna be in.
You know what, though? If we got it done, they might not be able to be, we could certainly use the month of September to
Orient.
orient and to get them fully
Have
on
the person
board.
sit out there. I mean,
Right.
right, as a public.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay,
so
Now-
I think by October, I think that's the.
Yeah.
That's the best we can do.
okay. Moving on. Any other topics we want to start looking at for next month's meeting that we haven't already discussed?
Well, I think you said next month we do chairman, vice chairman, that deal.
Yeah, I think
Is that
that's
September?
nomination. I believe so. That's when it was last year.
Yeah, so it's gonna be September, I think, so next month we'll have to take care of that at the beginning.
How do you feel about being chairman again?
I am willing. I am also more than willing to step back if there's somebody else that would like to do it.
I'm definitely willing to step back, but I'm not willing to step up.
I'm willing to continue, but
I'm willing to accept both of your continued commitments.
someone wants to speak up and be nominated. That's fine. Okay, report from town council.
I've sent, I've said plenty tonight, as usual. You know, it's hard, by the way, sometimes you guys can just tell me to be quiet because
Set a
I
buzzer
think-
on you.
I think because I've been a member of this committee, not just a liaison, that I still feel like I'm the liaison. Sometimes it's when you're like asking for the minutes, you know, you approve the minutes, I'm ready to say. But anyway, I have a new topic and I promise you, because we said we didn't ever want to go over an hour and a half
That's
anymore.
correct.
So I'm going to speak. So, Penn Environment, nonprofit. I don't know if any of you have heard of it before, but I mean, I have. I've worked with them in the past, actually. They're just, you know, they're a not-for-profit that's all about environment, pennenvironment.org, you know, if you want to look them up. Anyway, they are on a huge push in Pennsylvania to, and their topic is single-use plastic
Okay.
waste. With focus, because there's a lot of single source plastic waste, but let's just say focus on, at least hypothetical, focus on plastic bags, because that's been the kind of the thing that's gotten a lot of traction in
Right.
many places. And there's many other kinds of single source plastic waste, but you know, that's a big one. So anyway, they contacted us. What we have happening in And I apologize if any of you are totally like, eco geeks and you're on top of this, but I'm just going to give you the status of things in Harrisburg. So as you might recall, because we've talked about it in this committee, is that there was a preemption, if you would call it, but it put simply a ban on bans. The state put a ban on the ability of individual governmental units to ban things like single-use plastic
So we have
bags.
that in Pennsylvania.
Currently,
I did not realize that. Okay.
currently, it did not ever become a permanent law, but it is in effect right now. However, it expires December 12th, I believe,
Of this year.
but it expires, December 8th, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It expires December 8th. And so the push that Penn Environment has on right now is to see if there are communities interested in passing things like plastic bag bans,
Mhm.
preferably in advance of 12/8, because 12/8 would be the date on which it could be enforced. I mean, you could pass something prior, but it couldn't be enforced until
Gotcha.
December 8th.
Okay.
So that's kind of the Harrisburg thing. However, I'd be remiss in saying, just to put everything in context, is that just because it expires, they didn't pursue it permanently in the last, they didn't want to mucky up the budget things, but it's highly likely that come next year, probably next summer, probably coming in the context of the 2022 budget discussions, that they'll want to walk back on the expiration of the ban on bans, if you will. And, Senator, Senate President Corman. Okay, our state Senate President is Corman. He is, and this is not, I'm not trying to make a political statement out of this. This is just a fact. Corman is, he has been for years. He's affiliated with the plastics, industry and supporters of cracker plants and things of that nature. So, he definitely is not favorable to any kind of bans on plastic products. I think is a fair statement. Depending on what happens, whether the last time that he, I think, attempted to make this into permanent law, Governor Wolf vetoed it. However, if things change and there's a Republican governor, I think there's certainly a reasonable likelihood or chance that they will support Senator Corman. So that's the political view, because I think it's important to put that in context with the question I'm asking this committee right now. So, this group would say right now is the time to actually think about it, do something, consider doing something. I talked to, there's actually their zero waste expert, Stephanie Wine, is out of Philly. I spoke with her, and she is, so certainly she has been talking to municipalities all over Pennsylvania. In an attempt, they're feeling, so I'm not trying to advocate for this particular organization, I'm just repeating. Their feeling is that if more municipalities of all sizes and types would pass plastic bag bans, for example, it could even go further, single-use plastic, but let's just say the plastic bags, that if there's an opportunity in the future to walk back on the current, on once this ban on bans expires, that it will give pause and there's the opportunity where were municipalities where it's been approved in the past, the bans, that they could even be grandfathered in. So, that's her advocacy. So I'm not trying to advocate for Stephanie. I'm just saying that's the case. By the way, which I don't know if I've missed it in the news, and shame on me if I have, but she tells me that Pittsburgh plans to introduce a plastic bag very soon in the future, like within weeks.
Oh, that, I wasn't aware. I know Giant Eagle was going.
They've agreed to a
corporation,
2025. Yeah, they're gonna be plastic.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
sure that I've heard that, but,
Yeah. So anyway, that's just FYI. So that's something to watch for.
right. Well,
They're also talking to members of, they have contacts with, she said, several members of county council. And so and I spoke with her pretty candidly. I said, we have, and this is just me talking, this is my opinion. So for anybody on this recording, this is not this. I feel like, well, two things. I do feel like some of these kinds of things like plastic bag bans should be at the higher level. Now, it does not look like the state, there's probably more interest in continuing the ban on bans than there is in considering a ban on plastic in Pennsylvania. But I feel like there's, with larger, if this is something that people want to happen, that cities like Pittsburgh,
right.
not little, municipalities or counties certainly can entertain. And, that would certainly be much easier. It's not unlike what, some of the reasonable arguments about coal tar. Why would we want to do it if whole states, I mean, some states have actually, but, aren't doing it. So I explained to Stephanie that but I'm using that experience of coal tar and what I think I learned about council's, thinking on these matters, that I wasn't certain that this council at this time would necessarily be, though they could, be interested in enacting something which, just something, I mean, compared to coal tar resolution, banning plastic bags and McCandless is a lot bigger deal.
Yes.
However, I said what this council is definitely interested in and has been very supportive of is education about environmental concerns. And certainly, I think everyone in this committee is aware of, for a whole plethora of reasons and examples, while, from litter to the oceans to, well, just everything, why this country needs to move away from plastic ultimately. And well, again, my opinion, I'm not imposing my
All right, 'cause
opinion on you all.
you've got about a minute left.
Okay, so this is the question I've tried to give you all of my conversation with her, including my own, kind of bent on this. I think what this committee could do, if you were so inclined, is you could do nothing. Or you could take maybe the next step, which would be to allow this group to come or Zoom kind of a presentation, kind of further educate yourselves, all of us, on, what's going on with plastics and bans and updates and, what are the talking points, what we, to inform, I guess, if this committee would in the future, as a more educated body, want to recommend to council, again, could be a resolution, could be something more. It could be just the in-between, kind of like what happened with coal tar is that, and they will be supportive of this. They can provide resources and everything to include more information about plastics and so on in from an educational speaker series, for example, standpoint or something like that. So that is the, sorry, that was more than a minute. That's my question to you all tonight. I guess, do you want to, are you interested in receiving a presentation, probably via Zoom? They're being extra cautious, and their most talented, people on this issue are actually in Philly. Would you be interested in a Zoom presentation to this committee on this topic?
I would definitely.
I would as well.
Mr. Allhouse?
It's there, I'll watch it.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I consider that a very worthwhile topic and something I wish, we could entertain as a municipality, knowing realistically that may or may not happen, but I believe we should do our part in educating ourselves
Education never hurts.
Right.
and being prepared if we do have the opportunity to move forward with something.
Okay. I think we can have a presentation and you all can decide if there is anything further you want to do with it, if that's a fair statement. So would you, okay, how do you want me to? I did say a report back to Stephanie.
Okay.
So I can turn it over to someone. How do you want to handle yes, we'd like a presentation. Do you want it next meeting? Do you want it in September?
Well, that's how long
or
of a presentation? Do you
October?
think it's something?
They're
that's-
asking us. They'll put together whatever
Okay,
time frame. we
because if
want.
it's a meeting, I mean, I think anything over 15 or 20 minutes is, that's really all we can give it a meeting. I think if it's want something more in depth, would it almost be something done outside of a meeting? I don't know. What are our options? Because
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine either way. Yeah, I don't know how much depth they want to go into. I'm sure they could probably talk for hours about it.
Right,
So I
right.
agree. If we're going to have a part of a meeting, it should be relatively short,
Yes.
quick overview presentation. But if we have a whole separate, we should do it on
Yeah,
whatever
We
date.
could do it, an hour at a different.
Yeah,
time,
I'm
if that's
happy to give them an
appropriate.
hour or something like that. So,
After 10 minutes, if what they have presented is something that we are intrigued with and want to go further, then we can go further, but it doesn't make sense to allot an hour for, for a stop. So
I'm fine with that as well.
Yeah, and I
if
just
we
don't want
wanna-
an hour presentation at one of our
What
meetings.
I actually suggested to her in terms of, in the context of if this group agreed, was that she actually send the kind of the presentation materials in
Okay.
advance so that everybody could review them. So it was much less of a quote presentation than it was an opportunity for this group to question them.
Okay.
More of a, because everyone here is intelligent individuals, and I'm sure they can read the information that rather than them putting together a PowerPoint, they're going to read us.
Mhm.
And, then maybe, so that was what we talked about, more of a, give us the information in advance,
Mhm.
and then we can have a conversation and, whatever time frame you think is,
Yeah, like we did with the problem with when Mandy was here, she spoke for 10 minutes and there was no Q&A. So we didn't have, I'd rather look at the materials and have them available for Q&A rather than for them to read through, 10 slides, like you say.
to you guys.
So
That
maybe,
approach is okay.
give us the materials beforehand. Maybe
But, like,
10 minutes and then allow 10 minutes for questions or something like that. So it's 20 minutes total.
I don't have any problem with that. As long as we have the materials enough in advance.
Right. But you're saying still a 10-minute presentation or?
Yeah, I think there, I
Okay,
mean,
with us having
introduction or
High level.
probably more important is, you know, what are they looking for us to do? Or what can we do? You know, can McCandless ban bags altogether? I don't know. If the
No,
council,
they could. We could, well, we could actually, we could approve hypothetically an ordinance today, but under state law, it would not be enforceable until after
December
December 8th.
8th.
okay, all right.
And then at that, there's a possibility they could walk it back unless there's an
Which,
opportunity to
which,
keep it
yeah, there's gonna be a
grandfathered.
gap on the walk
Yeah.
back, probably.
Unless it could be grandfathered and stay,
Exactly.
possibly.
It all has to do with how if they walk it back, how that
Right.
legislation is written.
Lots of ifs.
So how do you want to proceed with this, Judy?
Let's say,
Do you want to talk to, and
I can certainly do that.
I mean, I'm not trying to put, I will,
Well,
but, you know, she's talked to me and certainly I did say there would be, and if I'm just suggesting either you sign it to someone or maybe someone on the committee wants to be more in control of it, because this is not,
Okay, no,
this
that's
is-
fine. That's perfectly fine. Is there anybody here that would be willing to do that? I know everybody's kind of got their hands full here.
I was gonna suggest Dave, because it goes along with litter.
But I'm,
No, I can't take on anything more.
yeah, I can call.
I'm teasing.
I can call. If you forward the information, that I'm going on vacation tomorrow. I'll get back on this stuff.
well, maybe we can
Next
talk
week.
after the meeting and because I don't mind doing it. We can just get, and when you get back, you can kind of finalize touch base.
That's
but,
fine.
you know, so she knows in advance what to do. So after the meeting, let's just talk, quickly and I'll give you her information and we'll agree on what I'm gonna tell her.
I have kind of a personal observation on this. I was in New York State Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Mhm.
New York has banned plastic
Yeah,
bags
that's where my
from
cottage is, yeah.
New York
Many
to
places,
Buffalo,
yes.
Mhm.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Along with like 10 or 15 other states. It works fine. I mean, before I saw what was happening this weekend in the stores and 2 grocery stores and Walmart, and I think I was in Home Depot also, or Lowe's. People get used to it.
Oh, yeah.
People buy,
I carry the bags in my car.
you
and I
carry the
go with me to
bags,
store.
they sell the
It's-
bags for 99 cents. You can get a paper bag for 5 cents if you want.
Yep.
There's no plastic bags on
They
the side of
pack
the
so much
road.
easier. They stack in your car. It's, yeah.
Some people
It's a
just
no-brainer.
leave their stuff in their cart and take the cart to the car and unload it.
I mean, look at Aldi's,
Yeah,
right? I mean, they already do that. It's not like that's
I'm fully-
uncommon.
I fully believe in paper bags. I hate plastic bags.
Yeah, I agree. I like paper bags.
but before this weekend, I don't know if I had no opinion on it or I was sort of like, the government's telling me what kind of bag I can use, you know, mind your own business type thing, but it really works. And there's no bags along the side of the road. There's no bags flying in
flying around
trees and stuff.
disturbing the animals and the
Um,
water and, yeah.
Geez, I mean, I
The only
was
downside is no liners for my trash cans at home.
Right, the little trash can.
But we
You know,
work with that.
I think that if we decide, if we have that presentation, we, ask the questions, we get behind it in a sense. I believe that there would be enough people in the public in McCandless that could also get behind it. That might encourage council to actually move forward rather than, so I'm saying like maybe what we do before we present to council is that we create some momentum
Mhm.
and then present to council, because the outside momentum might also project to council that this is not just us saying, hey, here's another thing we want to do, but there's people out there who actually appreciate and want the same as we do. Just a thought process moving
Yeah.
forward.
Well, and I can see that coming out of a speaker series or some
Right,
very
right,
much
tie it
more
back to,
public
right,
event.
yes, agree with that,
Um,
yep,
But it starts with us, so.
yes.
They also have a bottle bill up there. Every water bottle, every
Yeah.
pop bottle, every can, every beer bottle is 5 cents.
You see people waiting to like put them in there to get their deposit back, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I had it for years in Massachusetts, and if you
adapt very
yeah, if you don't, you pay an extra 5 cents, of course, but if you don't want to redeem it, somebody else will redeem it for you.
That's true.
So I guess, I mean, the moral is, I don't know, I had no opinion, and then I saw it in action, the plastic bag ban, and wow, that's really something that could help, you know, in terms of litter, for sure.
And what a huge impact if we could get rid of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would see less in my yard because we have the sheets relatively close to us.
Okay.
And people drive by and throw the plastic bags out the window and
Oh,
it
yeah.
lands in our yard.
Yeah.
They throw them in the back of their trucks and they just.
Yeah.
That's the rednecks do that. The good old boys throw them in the back.
Guys like Ken.
Okay.
I
Can-
basically don't, you know, like I prefer paper bags.
Wow, that's interesting. Well, I did, at one store, I put stuff in a paper bag and I carried it and the bag split open. So, yeah, you really have to, you know, if the reusable, what are they called? Reusable bags, or if those reusable bags are, they're all there at the checkout, 99 cents is what people will pay. You know, I bought 2 or 3 of them for my,
I have some now I've been using for 5 years.
Years, yeah,
Yeah.
us as well.
I have
Yeah.
some
The
that are duct
the
taped
issue you
together.
get into them is a lot of the bacteria and
right,
Yep.
disease
Right, yeah.
transmission.
Well, we go to Trader Joe's and they give us paper bags and then we keep them. So we use them once or twice or maybe 3 times, depending on what we're putting them in them, and we throw them out, you
right.
know, so
Recycle.
I'm an old forest products.
that's what we
person,
do.
so I'm
We actually put the
definitely
recycling
paper
in
bags.
it and then throw it into the recycling bin. So,
To
Okay.
me, the litter guru, I've had a, you know, plastic bag driving along and, oh, I'd like the back windows to open. So you open the back windows in a bag for myself
I know.
with your window. So
Out the sunroof. Yeah.
I'll pick that up in October, I guess. Sorry, Judy, go ahead.
Okay, no, I'd like to go ahead and move on and wrap this up tonight. If there are nothing else from
No,
town
no,
council.
unless
Shelley?
anyone had questions for me.
Okay, no, but I think it opened up a good topic.
Yeah.
I think we want to follow with that. So, and we have no public involved, so we have no public comments tonight. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
Second,
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
Awesome.
I almost
Thank
said
you.
I again.
Good discussion
You
tonight.
could say it, it just doesn't count.
Giant Eagle and grocery stores, when you get your choice of paper